Hey everyone, thank you for clicking this video. So in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys one of our new geckos that we never had it before. And the geckos that I'm gonna be showing you guys today is going to be these guys. You guys probably know these geckos if you have been looking up a lot of geckos before in the markets, but these guys are crested geckos. One of the different things about these guys compared to leopard gecko is their texture is super soft. And I think you're gonna enjoy this a lot if you love these type of geckos. And also they do climb pretty well. They have this suction thing on over their hand, on their feet, and also at the tip of their tail. In the first time when I was handling them, I thought they had this sticky thing on the tail. So I was trying to clean it, but turns out it was one of the things that they had it on their finger, which it helps them to climb and catch things well, because they just like jumping a lot. Let me show you something cool. Wanna jump? Wanna jump? Look, they love jumping, and overall they're pretty much very like leopard geckos. When it comes to owning the first reptile, they're pretty easy to keep, and the main difference when you're owning them is they don't require any belly heat or whatsoever. As long as you keep them in the room temperature, which is somewhere around 75, they do pretty well. But other things that you do require to provide for these guys is you do need to keep them more humid. Leopard geckos, they're more in the desert area, so you do need to keep them in the pretty dry area, except when you're giving them water. But these guys, they generally need more water. And one cool things I found while playing with them is that after you spray some waters over their enclosure, they do fire up. Fire up basically means like they do change their colors brighter, more darker, depending on which crested gecko you own. But right now you see more like a green color on their body, but once you put like water in their enclosure, these green colors change to brownish color, which I thought that was pretty cool. But overall they do love climbing, so people who own crested geckos tends to keep the higher tank instead of a lower tank, so that's how they do really well with it. And also the tail itself right here, they don't regenerate like leopard geckos. These guys, from my research, they don't use their tails a lot, so when they lose their tails, the tails will grow and they will just not have a tail at all. So you really want to be careful when you're handling them, and I don't recommend touching the tails too often because they will cut their tails when they feel threatened, and once they cut their tails, that tails will be gone forever. But overall they're pretty calm and they look pretty cute. And if I were to compare to like a dog, I will say these guys looks more like golden retriever. I will say, I think it's just the look of this thing, I don't know what this is called, like dorsal areas. They have this spiky things over them, but that just reminds me of golden retrievers for some reason. And what else? They don't blink. You know how like leopard geckos, when they're sleeping, they do close their eyes and they sleep, but these guys never close their eyes. And the way they keep their eyes pretty moisty is by licking their eyes with their tongue. So right now, if you're seeing this, they just don't blink, so you won't see them blinking at all. Look, if you want to play eye game, you may do so. Oh, she jumped. She jumped. She just likes to jump a lot when she sees stuff. But yeah, because my brother owns them and I do see them quite often, I want to show you guys a little bit more about crested gecko as well. And I want to learn about them as well, since I'm a beginner with the crested geckos. I want to learn something more, different creatures as well, while keeping the leopard geckos, and give you guys some of the tips that I learned while keeping these guys. But there are some more crested geckos, which my brother owns like a couple of them, like 4 of them I believe. And they're not like a high end, as how I usually have with the leopard geckos, but still, I think a lot of crested geckos looks pretty cute, and it's a bit hard to tell because they're pretty similar to each other, unless you get like a lily white or Azantic, which is like lily white is super white colors all over their body, and Azantic is more like grayish color. Unless you have those, majority of the crested gecko looks pretty same, and the way they tell the morph is by looking at their dorsal areas, like here, like from head to these lines. This is called dorsal, and some lateral is on the side of their back. So I think majority of the morph out there were like differentiated by looking at those type of things. And there are certain crested geckos, they have like 3 different colors, which I have to learn more about them, but so far they look super cute and they're super easy to keep. So for those who are asking about crested gecko, I think they are pretty good to start with as a beginner, and you don't really require a lot of things to maintain them as long as you give them a good temperature, room temperature and humidity. And also the difference part, these guys, is that their diets is kind of similar to leopard geckos, but at the same time they do eat like fruits. So there are like consumable things which has a flavor of fruits. So once you mix with the fruit powders and waters, they love licking those things. So you will definitely will enjoy seeing them eating. And also these will help us create new items for these guys who loves climbing, things like that. So since I've been getting a lot of inquiries about like when are we gonna release something like these guys, like items for these guys, I think I should start creating something for them, because now I own them and they just look super adorable. So I definitely think I need to start creating some amazing items for these guys to thrive. But overall, this is the harlequin, and the way that I learned about harlequin is that their patterns, when their patterns on the dorsal areas and lateral areas are pretty similar, then they call it harlequin. And if they have like more other colors, like let's say if they have like white, yellow, brown, or something other colors, like 3 different colors, and they call it crested geckos. That's the only things that I know so far, like, and lily whites and Azantic, which those are just different colors, so it's easy to tell. The majority of them are, seems like a lot more like polygenetic type of morph that are existing out there. So there's a lot of things that could be found with these guys as time goes. I also learned that these guys were start being captive because they were facing endangered issues. So that's when a lot of breeders start owning them and breeding them to make sure that these guys don't disappear later in the future. But they are not sensitive, they don't bite. There are certain crested geckos that are a little bit more feisty than this one. This is pretty calm when comparing to them, and I'm gonna show you a couple more that my brother owns and show you guys around like how they look different from each other. But majority of the things that I heard from him was saying that they are pretty similar to each other, which I believe that they will be all harlequins. But if I see something else, then I'll definitely review and show you guys around. So for anyone who owns a crested geckos and love them a lot, let me know down in the comment which morph you like the most, and I'll probably study it and teach you guys some of it from my research and go from there. But from now on, I'll be seeing them and handling them and carrying them more often and see what kind of products they need, and then start making them for crested gecko parents. But don't worry, I'll be also going over some tips for leopard geckos. There's a lot more things to go over since the breeding season is coming shortly, and some of them are already starting on their breeding for leopard geckos. I'll also go over that as well with you guys. But yeah, for this video, I wanted to show you guys my new pet that we have here. It's going to be the crested gecko, and I'll keep you guys posted how they do and what I learned from them while I'm owning them. So Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys. Hey look, if you enjoyed that video, I went ahead and picked out another special video that I know you're gonna find immensely valuable. You can find it right here. There, I know you're gonna love it, and I'll see you in the next one.